Okay, welcome to the November 25th regular council meeting. I would like to recognize that we are gathering and governing on what is now known as Comox territory, and we are grateful for their grace and collaboration as we do this good work on their lands. I'm just going to mention that we are having some technical issues with our live streams, so we are not able to live stream the presentation that we're going to get from our upcoming delegation, but it is on the website along with the agenda if you'd like to have a look at that while you watch. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Move the agenda. Second.
Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. And there are minutes from Committee of the Whole November 4th and regular council November 12th.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor of that as well? Thank you. And we have a delegation from the Comox Valley Food Policy Council. Come on up, Naomi. You're welcome to stand or sit, whatever you're most comfortable
I'll
with.
just stand right here if that works.
Awesome. Just make sure your mic is on.
Good
so the
evening.
good people online
that-
can hear us.
yeah, okay.
That's good. Yeah, that's perfect.
So soft and gentle, and I really appreciate that.
It's much nicer than the CVRD ones.
It's
are
really-
harsh.
Really a kitchen table microphone. Yeah, amazing. I'm Naomi Robert. I co-chair the Comox Valley Food Policy Council, and we're touching base with this fall with local governments, the RD, and the school district to give an update on what we've been up to. Loosely, the past year, I'm going to be a little bit generous with that exact timeline and highlight some ways that we can continue to collaborate with the Village of Cumberland and other local governments in the region in general. I'll echo Mayor Brown's words about the unceded traditional territory of the Comox Nation that we are calling home and express my gratitude for their work since time immemorial stewarding these lands for abundance. A note to start, just briefly about why food policy councils exist. I think is just an important one to mention, why a food policy council and not all these other areas of important policy, is that traditionally, as many of you may be aware, food has not been part of a planning agenda for whatever reason. Other essential parts of community well-being, shelter, water, transportation have been traditionally part of professional planning practice, but food has really been omitted from that. And for the importance of local government, some say that this is particularly important at the local level because a lot of impacts of either poor or absent food planning are really felt most acutely at the local level, whether it be mismanagement of waste and food waste in particular, planning at the urban-rural interface and those tensions, or just the built environment and how people actually experience food and getting food on a day-to-day basis is something that's felt at the local government level. So as communities have realized there's this gap in the planning domain, there's been really a lot of food policy councils popping up across North America to help governments support them through that process of food policy and food planning, and really make sure there's a broad range of perspectives being integrated into that. And that's what we are. We are a food policy council, one of those. Our purpose is a forum for food policy advocacy and development for a food system that is socially just, economically viable, and ecologically sustainable. So those three pillars are the ones we operate on. We are a hybrid of civil society organizations and government. So we have appointed seats for each local government, the regional district, and the school district, as well as a number of community members representing Island Health, for example, food business owners, farmers, restaurateurs, food processors and distributors, as well as the Comox Nation, a number of people who work with food insecurity and organizations, work with vulnerable populations, so really a broad range of perspectives. And we are fiscally and administratively housed at Lush Valley Action Society in Courtenay. However, we are two separate entities. We have different terms of reference, although you can imagine there's a lot of alignment on the work that we do, so we do collaborate with them quite often. We provide input into all municipal, regional governments. I use the term local government to capture both of those. And matters can be referred to us by council, by staff, and we look at all issues that are relevant to our mandate, whether they be at the local level, and sometimes we work at provincial and national levels, provided they align. Our priorities, these are the ongoing priorities, are really supporting planning processes, both formal and informal, so formal OCPs, agricultural plans, strategies, providing input on various issues related to local government development and land management and policy, as well as engagement and implementation related to that. And then we have 4 priority areas that are updated annually, or we look at them annually. Some of them have been the same since 2019, and just make sure that we are focusing on areas that we feel the communities most need and we have the capacity to work on. So briefly, moving forward, emergency preparedness is a big focus for us, which is supporting food security with a focus on resilient supply chains and food economies. There's ecosystem resilience and health, particularly focused on water and the role that that plays in our food security, particularly with increasing drought conditions. School food and access to healthy, culturally appropriate and local food in schools, and then food access and agency, which for us refers to advancing household food security and poverty reduction, as well as Indigenous food sovereignty. So those are very broad, all-encompassing, but really there's obviously a lot of work to do there, and we have been working in all those areas, and I'm going to give a little bit of a whirlwind update for the next, I would imagine, 6 minutes that I have, but we'll not be able to touch on all of what we're doing. In terms of local government policy support, we've been working with the Village of Cumberland this past year to help with the OCP update and give some input into what food policy can look like for the village. We've also been really active in the City of Courtenay's OCP and their food chapter over the past couple years. We've been focusing also, I'll talk a little bit more about it in a minute, but emergency food planning project with the Village of Cumberland as well has been a great partner, and we're embarking on a joint project there. And we've provided a number of written feedback for different developments, as well as regional plans like the agricultural area plan. In terms of provincial work and coalition building, we've been both at the federal level supported all municipalities and the RD providing letters advocating for a school food program, a national school food program, as well as advocating to join for the National Coalition for Healthy School Food and for folks who follow the school food movement. It's been a really exciting year. Provincially, we've also advocated for the inclusion of food security in provincial emergency planning, which has resulted in increased guidance and resources for emergency food planning from the Ministry of Agriculture. There's some notes here. I will not be able to go over them all, but it'll just be provided for reference. But for emergency planning, I'll highlight some emergency mapping project that Lush is working on, and we're partnering with them with funding from Investment Agriculture Foundation, looking at food flows in the Comox Valley, and working with Kwantlen University, who has quantitatively mapped all the food coming in and out based on available data of each regional district in the province. And Lush is working on nuancing that information for the Comox Valley in particular. And the project that we are working on with the Village of Cumberland is really, it's with funding from the BC Healthy Communities, and we are looking at how to advance local government emergency planning around food. What does that look like when there are disruptions to the food supply chain? Exploring policy precedents from other jurisdictions for how local governments can be both preventative and how to help in the recovery and the moments of food supply chain disruption, and then provide some recommendations and policy guidance on how to implement some of those areas. The School Food Subcommittee has been extremely active as well, particularly supporting some new funding that's been available both provincially and nationally, and working with the school district to hire a school food coordinator as well. And we now have a national school food program, which is thanks to a lot of many years of coalition building and advocacy across Canada, including here locally. Poverty reduction, we're working with the Comox Valley Regional District on their poverty reduction strategy, and have some folks who sit on some regional tables like the Tamarix Western Canada Community Leadership and Roundtable. Local food procurement has been an area this past year that we've been looking at as well, working with both the town of Comox, with the Village of Cumberland as well, and how to implement local food procurement as part of social procurement, what opportunities exist for local governments there. and a list of other things we're excited about, but we don't have time to fully dive into today. So that's included just because I know you have written notes, and we are limited to 10 minutes today. So I think I'm probably there. If there are any questions, either that don't fit into the few minutes we have, Mayor Brown sits on the Food Policy Council with us, and we're super lucky. So through her, or you can reach out directly to us, and we are here to support and collaborate in any way we can. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Naomi. Questions, council?
Darn good job. That's all.
Oh, thanks.
Sure.
Wow. If you want
The last slide
another,
again?
yeah,
That was a
seriously,
lot.
it was a lot. Yeah, if you want to absorb more, you can come at the CVRD tomorrow night. You can get a double header. We can do this all again. Yeah.
I will just say that the Food Policy Council was formed during, like, right before
2019,
COVID.
so right before the
2019.
pandemic, yeah.
So we did like a bit of planning work, and then the pandemic came, and that was sort of the genesis of the trying to work emergency food planning into emergencies, because it was a gap that we identified. So that, I think, is a really awesome, along with all the other things that we've done that have been super supportive to local governments and the school district. That's a big one, and I think this food flows work that we're doing with VIU is also awesome. And I'm hoping that when it's finished, we can do a presentation to VIEA, because I think that would be a really
Yeah,
great
absolutely.
place to kind of launch that work
Absolutely.
or have a conversation about it. Anyway, thank you for bringing all your mad skills to the Food Policies Council and for being here tonight. If there's no other questions or comments.
Thank you
We
very
can
much.
just-
You know where to find us. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having
Thank
me.
you so much.
Cheers.
Thanks.
And there's probably a motion to receive that
So moved.
Second.
delegation. Thank you, and all in favor? And that's carried as well. Thanks, Naomi. And now we are on to reports, which is the 2025 council meeting schedule and open meeting recording policy. Oh, thank you.
Not here?
So I've just brought this, your schedule, your meeting schedule for 2025 back to council for approval. And while I was doing another double check of all the dates, I did catch a couple things that council might want to consider. And one was the committee of the whole meeting that we had scheduled on June 30th, and that was to look at the strategic plan update for council's strategic plan. And I picked up that it was scheduled on the Monday of the July 1st Canada Day weekend. So I thought that probably wouldn't be too popular with you all. So I've just removed it from the calendar, and we can schedule it as the OCP comes to a close, and we find a time for that. And we'll hopefully stick to a Monday for you. And then the other date that I picked up on is the Monday after, I think most of you are attending AVICC in Victoria, and whether or not you'd like to move that meeting so you don't have to do double duty there over the weekend. We have the option to move it to April the 7th, and that still leaves a 2-week break from the previous council meeting. So if council would like to make that move, if you could direct that with the approval of the meeting schedule, with the April 14th meeting moved to April 7th.
Sounds good.
And the policy, video recording policy is attached there with the change. The change is section 2.1. The track changes didn't show up in the agenda here, but that's the new section that council asked for, where committee of the whole meetings, including the financial plan workshops, will be live streamed but not recorded or retained, as discussed at the committee of the whole.
Okie dokie, thank you. Questions? Anything? I just want to check that so when I went and read the package, I thought I thought we were recording, keeping everything but the financial plan committee of the whole. Am I the only one that thought that?
Yeah, I didn't think that
We're not keeping any of them? Just double checking.
I didn't think we were.
I didn't think we were keeping any of them.
Okay, okay, good. Then I think we just need, is the 14th in the recommendation? No.
Yeah.
7th?
Okay,
Yeah, move from the 14th to the 7th?
I'll move the council approve the 2025 council meeting schedule, changing April's 14th meeting to April 7th, and direct staff to give public notice of the schedule, and that council approve amended policy 1.13, open meeting video recording policy.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you.
Does that capture that June 30th change as well?
Yes, I did remove
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
Prior.
it's in the,
Perfect.
not in
Yeah,
the calendar.
thanks for checking.
And then bylaws, 2025 to 2029 financial plan bylaw, utility and frontage tax rates amendment bylaws. Come on up, Andre.
I have a huge audience again. So not sure.
It's way
Since I
bigger than
started,
last
it
time.
seems to be going down. So even the video recording is. Anyways. So the purpose of this report is to report back to council on feedback received from the public about the 2025-2029 proposed financial plan, and present council with the financial plan bylaw for consideration of first reading, and the frontage tax amendment bylaws and water rates, sanitary sewer rates, and solid waste collection fees amendment bylaws for consideration of first, second, and third reading. Council added during the committee of the whole meetings held on October 7, 15, and 21, 2024, so the added budgets during those meetings. Those changes were confirmed at the November 12, 2024 meeting and are included in the proposed financial plan. This 2025-2029 financial plan was presented to the public during the Village Hall meeting on November the 18th. Council at the October 28, 2024 closed session meeting regarding staffing changes. Oh, that sentence doesn't. Anyways, and those changes are also included in the proposed financial plan as released by Council for that meeting. Feedback on the financial plan was received from the public via 2 emails. One was about the 2025 budget and sewer utilities. Concerns were expressed about the escalation of costs of the wastewater treatment plant, population growth in relation to financial sustainability, and increasing taxes. During the Village Hall meeting on November 18, 2024, the Mayor addressed these concerns as follows. Between 2016 and 2021, there was a population increase of 61%. Service levels are expanding and improving to meet community needs, and staff are needed to do so. Services require more technical specialization and require supporting staff resources. The changing regulatory environment, for instance, drinking water and wastewater management. And Council, I hear your concerns about the increase in costs for capital infrastructure projects like the wastewater project, and hope the decisions we make now will help to keep operating costs lower in the future. Many communities are in the same situation with cost increases due to inflation, as well as increased regulatory requirements for public safety, drinking water, and environmental protection, for instance, wastewater treatment. We use reserves to stabilize the impact of tax increases on the community. For 2025, Council has reallocated funds that would have gone to the Emergency and Public Safety Reserve this year and used for current services. The balance of emergency and public safety reserve is still enough to transition to increased policing costs when the population reaches 5,000. The other feedback received included questions that were answered directly by staff. It also expressed opposition, and the feedback expressed opposition to increasing taxes over the next 10 years to fund community service agreements in preparation for the host amenity funds agreement ending in 2032. A question was received relating to the increase needed for the organizational restructuring, which was stabilized in which was stabilized. So those increases in 2025 were 1.41%, 2026 1%, 2027 0.21%, and 2028 2.57%, and finally in 2029 of 2.4%. Concerns were expressed that taxes from new properties are not paying for this share of municipal operating costs. This was addressed by the mayor during the village hall meeting and is outlined above. Finally, there was a question regarding whether animal control was included in the bylaw service level in the budget. Animal control has always been part of the bylaw service level, and that has not changed. Now I'll provide you with an overview of impacts proposed. The proposed financial plan bylaw includes a proposed property tax increase for 2025 of 7.83% and an overall increase for a median single-family household of 6.8% for utility charges and frontage taxes. The water rates amendment bylaw includes the following proposed increases for 2025. For residential customers and for variable rates based on consumption, the proposed increase is 3 cents from 85 cents per cubic meter to 87 cents per cubic meter. And for the fixed rates for a residential customer, there's an increase of $4.60. For industrial, commercial, and institutional customer, or ICI, there is an increase of 1.5% in the fixed rates, fixed quarterly rates. And an average increase of 1.5%, which I just mentioned, for quarterly fixed rates for ICI customers. There's recent news on the dam safety review in 2026. This review is not needed anymore. The $10,000 impact starting in 2026 to service the debt needed originally has a minimal impact on the water utility budget. We will include this change next year. The sanitary sewer rates amendment bylaw includes a proposed rate increase of 2.37% for residential customers for 2025. Proposed rates for ICI customers are increasing by about 4.75%. The solid waste collection fees amendment bylaw includes a proposes a increase of $12.50 flat fee per residential unit per quarter, and $15 for ICI customers. This increase is required in 2025 to stabilize the funding increase required to fund the change in service level for solid waste automatic collection system. Frontage tax amendment bylaws propose a combined increase of 4.1% for the water, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer frontage taxes. There's also a water supply capital improvements bylaw. Starting in 2021, this bylaw imposes a partial tax to repay the outstanding debt of the water supply capital improvements. It levies an annual amount of $45.09 for each parcel. Staff estimates that this parcel tax will increase to $79 per parcel upon refinancing in 2026 because the interest rates are expected to be higher than the pre-pandemic levels. In 2026, an additional parcel tax in the range of $300 per parcel is expected to repay the new debt approved by Council in 2024 for the wastewater treatment plant. Council has directed staff to bring forward a review of these water systems and wastewater capital debt parcel taxes on the basis of user consumption for 2026 financial planning. In summary, the impact of all these proposed increases, including property tax, utility charges, frontage, and parcel taxes, is $394 or $33 per month for an average single-family household. This does include taxes collected for other taxing authorities, such as CVRD, policing, school, and library. As the final taxes paid for those other authorities are not known yet for 2025, we used a 7% increase for now. Excluding those other taxes paid for other authorities, the impact is a $250 increase for an average single-family household, or $21 per month. But that's excluding those taxes for other authorities. Next steps. Staff recommends that Council give first reading to the 2025-2029 financial plan bylaw and first, second, and third reading to the frontage tax amendment bylaws and water rates, sanitary sewer rates, and solid waste fees amendment bylaws. The financial plan bylaw is currently scheduled to come back to Council December 9, 2024, and January 13, 2025 for additional readings and final adoption. The frontage tax amendment bylaws and water rates, sanitary sewer rates, and solid waste fees amendment bylaws are scheduled to come back to Council December 9, 2024 for adoption. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thanks, Andre. Are the slides from the November 18th presentation on the website?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Andre's slides, yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. Just checking. Questions, Council? Questions, Council?
Not at this point.
Yep.
Yes.
I heard a line about the dam safety review.
Yeah.
What's the update on that expenditure?
So the $100,000 expenditure that we budgeted for 2026 is not needed anymore. The review is not needed anymore. And but that was funded by the Financial Stabilization Reserve?
The water.
Yeah,
Right.
the $100,000 expenditure.
Okay.
I can just jump in as well. So Rob was able to discuss a few things with the legislation person, and they figured out together that it actually wasn't needed anymore. So
That's good. Completely, just that expenditure is not, it's not been delayed or changed into
no,
something
we
else. It's just,
don't need to do the dam
Good.
review anymore. It was $100,000. We were going to put 10 grand in, pay it back every year, and so we feel like $10,000 is quite minimal impact. We thought we could just adjust it for next year and take it out.
thank you.
Okay. Did it get taken out of the work plan yet? Maybe not.
No,
Okay.
it's still in there. That's
Okay.
what we mean, is that it just wasn't a big, it wasn't a big enough impact to be able to try and scramble at the last second.
No, that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
That's awesome. Okay.
Am I on?
Any other questions?
I was on.
Go ahead,
Yep.
Councillor Chan.
We're giving first reading to the financial plan, and then if we want to review the different property classes, that happens at second reading? Is that, am I
We
reading
could do
this
that.
correctly?
Usually you do that with the tax rate bylaw in May once you've received the assessment, but you can look at that and try to adjust the classes. It's hard to do when you
When we don't have the assessment
don't
yet.
have the yeah.
I see, so we
Yeah.
wait until May and
Yeah.
then,
And then that would
and that gives us an opportunity at that time to look at those.
That's right. Then you can decrease what one class would pay. You're still not decreasing the 7.83 revenue in total.
Yes.
You're just decreasing what each class would.
Reallocating it
That's
slightly
right.
if we want. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I had a note about that as well.
Yeah, that was all I had. We've been over this a few times.
I just have a question about the ICI rates. So I guess I'm just realizing now that we charge by the size of the pipe, which I guess gives us some measure of the amount of water, but we're not actually, like, are we measuring the actual amount of water? Sorry, I'll find the page.
Oh, you mean the flat fee for the water consumption? Yeah.
The fixed charge.
That's right. It is. It's quite a range depending on the size of the meter.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah, the size of the meter.
the size of the
That's right. Like
meter?
some businesses have like a large meter, like a
So it's not the pipes.
large service size.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's why, yeah, like some of the bigger water users
Yeah.
will need a bigger service size, and so they have a bigger water meter and they pay a larger fixed.
Okay, so can we tell what that water usage is over time? Like, do we have a measure of that?
Yeah.
Is that what the meter's doing?
Yeah.
It is measuring
Yeah,
that water
so they
consumption.
also pay a
Okay.
variable rate on their water consumption. That's just the fixed.
Right.
And so the
Okay.
fixed pays for all your fixed kind of costs. The variable
Replacement,
is,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
The range is from $60.40 to $540.90 for 2025.
Yeah,
And the consumption rate is the same for everybody in the village?
Well, the consumption rate for ICI is $1.23 per cubic meter
Okay.
in 2024, and it increases to $1.26 per
Okay, so
cubic meter in 2025.
commercial water's more,
Yeah.
is slightly more. Okay, thank you.
and then I just had a question, so on page 57 of 70 in the chart there, reserve balances. So we're not, in the emergency and public safety reserve, we're not showing that, or maybe we are showing it. I'm curious if we're showing that declining starting in 2027 when we expect, or we'll adjust that in future years once
So-
we know
So you are talking about the balances or the contributions?
the balances.
So the the contributions will disappear in 2027,
Yeah,
assuming that we will at that point hit the 5,000 population.
yeah.
But the balance will still be,
No, and you'll see it goes from 3.7 million down to 3.4. So you are
Okay,
using
so that
it.
is the, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good. I wanted to just make sure that we were doing that. And then there's also a land sale reserve bylaw 834. Can anybody tell me what that is?
Yes.
We have land
That
sales?
is actually, it's a statutory reserve, and when you sell land, the sale, the proceeds have to go into this reserve, and then it can only be used for certain things. And the reason why it's so low is we used it in 2019 or something to buy the piece of land that the fire hall's on.
Right, okay. And we sold land previously to build that?
Not in my lifetime, but,
No,
or I mean,
me
not in my
neither.
time here. Maybe my lifetime, but not my
I'm
time.
like, who did that? What was that?
Yeah.
Curiouser and curiouser. Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, there's a recommendation there.
All right. I move the council give first reading of the 2025-2029 financial plan bylaw number 1216/2024, and that council give first, second, and third reading of the water service frontage tax amendment bylaw number 1217/2024, the Sewer Service Frontage Tax Amendment Bylaw number 1218, 2024, Stormwater Service Frontage Tax Amendment Bylaw 1219, 2024, Solid Waste Collection Fees Amendment Bylaw 1220, 2024, Water Rates Amendment Bylaw number 1221, 2024, and the Sanitary Sewer Rates Amendment Bylaw number 1222, 2024.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor of that, all that? And that is carried unanimously as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Notices, motions, and announcements. And I'm not going to say check the website because we're pretty sure this is going to happen. It's our last regular council meeting of the year on Monday, December 9th. So, it's your last opportunity for 2024 to
Wait,
come
we're not meeting next Monday?
and be. We actually have a Monday off. Okay, and now we're on to question period. No, nothing. And there's no audience here to ask us anything either. So there's a recommendation to move to closed, please.
I'd like to recommend that council close the meeting to the public pursuant to Section 90 of the Community Charter to consider labor relations or other employee relations.
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor of that? That's carried